Hi everyone, it's Apollo. Today we are going to use GarageBand to create background music that can be used in a video game. The first thing we're going to do is open up GarageBand, create a new project. Let's create an empty project, and it's GarageBand will ask you for a particular type of track you want to create. We'll use this keyboard MIDI. Double click on that, it'll do create. We can move this guy around. This allows us to sort of create or generate music while we're recording using our keyboard, but we don't need that for this particular session. So the first thing, just a little bit of explanation of what you're seeing. This is the library, and these are sort of like the sounds or instruments that you can use to create sounds. Right now, this particular track we're looking at is classic electric piano. Up here is the timeline, and it's really the number. This really tracks with the beats that you're creating. We've got metronome. I don't know what this 1 2 3 is. We'll figure that out later. Here's your typical record, loop, play, go to the beginning, go to the end. This tells you for this particular part of the track where you currently are. Right now there's nothing, there are no MIDI anything, so you're at bar 1, beat 1, that's the tempo, and this is sort of the time signature. Alright, so one of the first things we have to do is create a MIDI region. So we'll right click here, create empty MIDI region, and that will allow us to create notes. If you use your pinch to zoom in and out, within this track you can, and what you can see is it created a bar for us. It's got, again, the timing is 4/4, so it's got 4 beats. If you double click on that MIDI region, you'll see down here that it went or that there's a keyboard here. Here we can insert different notes by hitting the command button, and this little pen comes up, and you click on a particular sort of area here and create the note for you. It's hard to see, and this is one thing I don't like about GarageBand, is it's got these tracks and these notes, and this particular note sort of extends out. If you follow that really dark line or the light gray line, it corresponds to these keys. So in order to create a note in a particular area, let me pinch out here real quick and get it to the same bar. But in order to create a note, you hit the command and click on an area down there, and what it does is creates a note. And if you look at the type of note it's going to create a 16th note, and this is the time signature here is 4/4, which means these are 4 quarter notes in a bar. So a 16th is going to take up a fourth of this particular beat, which is a quarter beat. And if you click on it, that selects it, and this is a C4. You can move it around using, on the MacBook trackpad, you can just grab it with 3 fingers and move up and down, and you can hear the note that it's playing, and also see where it's landing on the bar or on the keyboard. And then you can resize it by just hovering towards the end, and this will make for a shorter, and do click and drag or use 3 fingers to sort of resize it, and this will create a longer or shorter note. This is a whole beat, and if you play that all the way across, it's just going to be one long note if you had 4 of these. So let's do one thing is this loop. We'll just keep looping this particular measure or this particular bar, and you can shorten, you can sort of indicate where you want to loop, or how far out you want to loop, the area you want to loop by just clicking and dragging at the end of this particular time sort of header there. All right, one thing we should do is turn off this metronome so that we hear this clicking when we play, and then click this play, and you can hear the sound that it's creating. It's creating or is producing a C sound, and it's doing it really for a whole beat. from 1 to 2, and then that can serve as a foundation for other things. So let's zoom in on this particular piece, and we can add other notes. And instead of playing for a whole beat, let's play it for just half of a beat. And then we'll do a progression going up. I'll do C, E, G, E, and it'll repeat back to C. So when you select on this particular note in this area, this roll, you can do Command C to copy the note, and then go into a particular timeline like here. Go to that beat, Command V to paste it, and instead of playing C, we'll play E, and then we'll keep moving forward here. Add this one and move it over to G, and then take this note. Actually, we can go to here and Command V again to paste it, and so now it should be an E, but it's not. We must have copied the C note. All right, so we want E, not E flat. Take this one and move it up. We want all white keys, and that'll play a major, the major notes. And let's play it. And that's just a very basic sort of progression. I'm sure you've heard that particular progression in a lot of songs early in your years. All right, and that gives us a good foundation, and we can play around and select different sound sources, add other notes, add other tracks to make it cooler. All right, so this is, we've laid down the basic foundation of our bar. What we want to do is create other tracks that can produce different sounds. So click on this plus button, which creates a new track. And again, we're going to use a keyboard MIDI. And here, just select that particular track header. And we can look here and find other types of instrumentation that produces different sounds. So I clicked on synthesizer. You can go to bass, and what we want to do is pick, let's start with, let's see, what's a good one? Classics. You don't want that. Let's see. Let's experiment with something. But what you can do is you can click on this MIDI section, copy it, Command C, and let's see if it'll paste it down here. Nope, it won't do that. Let's do, yeah, I guess you have to move this timeline to the second bar. Hit Command V, and that gives you a copy of that particular bar, but you can just drag it down here using click and drag, and then when you play it now, we actually have to go and change it again. Let's see, let's use this arpeggiator, synthetic basics, and use this guy and see what that sounds like. You can mute this first track, click on that speaker, and this is what this one sounds like. So from our basic sort of 4 notes, you can produce that. There's this other thing called alien language. So like it took our basic notes and synthesized it and changed the sounds a little and produced a totally different thing. Here's Leap City. So you can imagine, like, for various parts of your game using this particular sound, and you can play around with a bunch of stuff. I like that too. Here's a funk pot. That one I really like. You don't want it to be too much in the background, but you want to sort of spread it out around a little bit. So you can pick a bunch of different sounds. So what I would do next is, let's turn this on, and for this guy, let's use like alien language, and you can play it. So you've got that, if you listen, I'm going to mute some of this, you've got that basic sort of progression from C, E, G, E, like the progression of pitch, and then you add this, and it gives it a little bit different texture, a little bit different flavor. And then what you can do is sort of change the notes a little bit. Double click on this particular section. Oh, okay, and then for this particular bar, we could take these out, and every time you click a note, it plays it, but we could probably just go in and just play it every beat, the same sound. Let me go to this second beat, paste that, and we'll just do dump, dump, rest, dump. So let's put this here, and nothing really complicated here, but you're playing a note the first two beats, skipping the third beat, and playing the fourth. So let's see what that sounds like. And if you mute it, you can sort of see what that second part is. So let's make it do that funk bot. Yeah. So for this particular song, you probably want just 2 beats instead of like 3. But let's combine it with this. And that first sounds a little too innocent. This one's a little bit too loud. Let's turn it down. This is just drag this with your mouse button. Let's see what it sounds like. Still too loud. Right. So depending on the kind of sounds you want to produce, you can use different sound sources. So this one sounds a little bit too friendly. So let's go in and give it some. I'm gonna use a bass sound here. Let's see. I am there. Nope, synthesizer. There's some bass that I can use for this guy, and I can do. Let's play around with different sounds. I'll mute this, and then let's see what this sounds like. I like that plucky sort of bass there. Let's do. Alright, let's do some heavy sub bass. That sound, I like the bass sound myself, but let's add it. Let's go to this one and pick a sound for this one that might go well with it. Let's do. Here's some soft waves. And let's unmute that. Yeah. That could sound good. Let's try Cosmic. Yeah, it just adds more sort of notes to the 3 that's here. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Pinch and zoom. Let's try a different one. Yeah. I like that. And this is going to be like a scene in your game where your character is walking or you're waiting for some event to happen. So I like this one. So just a summary here. What we did was we went and added a new track that was MIDI keyboard, and we added some notes. Double click on that. Added some notes here, just a basic progression. Added a second track and just copied what was here and there and removed some notes and just repeated some of these. And then we just selected different sound sources for these tracks, which gives it, you're gonna have to play around with it to see the kind of sounds that you like. But with this, we essentially use 4 notes to produce this particular background. And I like that steady sort of progression beat, and then you got this little additional texture that's a little bit off and sort of twangy. Alright, cool. So the next thing we need to do is export this. We want to use it. Well, let's save this first, which is, we'll call this background music. And then let's do this share and export song to disk. And if you're using Unity, you want to export it as MP3 because it allows you to sort of control the quality of it. Background sound doesn't have to be very, very high quality. So this will let you produce like a much, 100K file instead of like a 4 meg file. So let's select this background music, and it will automatically populate like the correct extension. So that's MP3. Hit export. Oh, one thing is export cycles area or length. When you're using synthesizer music or synthesized sort of sound, it sort of can go beyond where your bars are and can extend. It can extend the track, and it'll mess up when you sort of want to loop through in your game. So check this, and it will only export the sounds that occurs within this particular timeline up here. So it goes from first beat to fourth beat, and then that's the end of the sound generation. So export that, and then open up your Unity. And I have my Bleeping Bots game open already. So what you should do is go in here and create an empty object. We'll just call it new background music. And then I'm going to turn, this one already has a background music, but I'll disable this one for now. All right, so the next thing I want to find my music, which is right here, and I'm going to drag that onto my Unity project here. And I have a spot where I put all of my sounds, which is here. And I'm going to just take this and drag it to this sounds folder. It adds it there. And then we have background music. And I'm just going to loop through it just so I know what it's going to sound like. And that can just repeat and repeat and repeat. And once you've dragged it into the project, then you can go and take that sound and drag it to this object that we added to our scene. And now it automatically added this audio source component. And one thing I want to do is go in and just click on loop so that when the scene comes up, you're just going to keep playing it and playing it and playing it. All right, so let me save that and hit play in Unity, and it should see. So this is my new background sound. Nothing spectacular, but it's good enough to sort of keep your interest. And you can go through here and you have other sound effects, obviously. Do that. Change some of my things here, my weapons that I'm using. Let's see, here's a cool effect. Another cool effect. And then that background sound just keeps going, which is pretty cool. And now I have, there we go. And it mixes well with everything else. And it's a robot themed game, so I think it goes well. Oh, it's dead. Get him. And that's pretty much it. That's how you create just very basic background music with 3 or 4 notes and just some help from a lot of help from GarageBand. And feel free to experiment with different sounds here. There's some really cool stuff here. All right, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video and you find this helpful. Leave questions in the comments, and we'll see you next time.